Hello, my lovely listeners. I'm Dr. Mary Barson.
And I'm Dr. Lucy Burns. Welcome to this episode of Real Health and Weight Loss. Good morning, gorgeous ones. It's Dr. Lucy here today, and I have the most beautiful guest to share her story with you. She has done our 12-week mind-body rebalance, and as you know, if you're listening to this episode today, or even in the next few days, the doors are open for the next round of the 12-week mind-body rebalance, which is starting September the 3rd. But what we love to share with you is some of the people who have gone through the program, because really their stories are the thing that bring us joy and the reason that Mary and I continue to do these. So this morning, I would love to introduce to you a beautiful woman called Louise, who lives in the Northern Highlands of Australia. And I would love to welcome her to the podcast. Welcome, Louise.
Good morning, Lucy.
So we have very much enjoyed having Louise as part of our program. She's often sharing stories about her baby alpacas that are born, and there's little flurries of snow while other members are basking in sunshine. It has been just a complete joy. Lou, can you tell us a little bit about your story? Because you've got a really fabulous and interesting story that I think a lot of our listeners would be able to relate to.
Okay, well, in 2018, I was 35 kilos heavier than what I am now and on the verge of needing insulin because I developed type 2 diabetes. And I had, by luck or chance would have it, I came across a dietitian who said, don't go on insulin, let's try keto. And I'd heard of paleo but hadn't heard of keto. So with his help, I went on to keto, and over a period of about 8 or 9 months, as we were going around Australia in our caravan, I lost all the weight, and my blood sugars, that the HbA1c that had been riding up around 14 had come down to 5, and I was on no medication, and I had reversed it out. So I was very, very excited by that. But one of the things that I had really not paid too much attention was this underlying sugar addiction. So I went back to work. I took on a new job. That was a very stressful job. It was when COVID had just started and I was looking after an aged care facility, so it was very difficult. And as my stress levels went up, so did my craving for sugar, and I had absolutely no control over it. I was very harsh on myself as I was starting to put weight on. And I managed to put on those 35 kilos plus a bit more in the space of a year. So at the end of this year, I was feeling very unwell. So I went to the doctor and I had a blood pressure of 210 on 110. And my HbA1c had got up to 17. And my blood sugar was 20.
Oh, gosh. No wonder you're feeling unwell, Louise.
I had protein in my wee, so I was very unwell, both mentally and physically. So I thought, I don't think I could do the keto anymore. Just put me on the medication. They wanted to put me onto insulin to try and get it down. And then I went to bed and overnight had a big dream, woke up the next morning, said, no, I can do this, but I need a bit of help. So I had to swallow hard. I contacted this dietitian and said, I'm really sorry. I was so apologetic, but I've stacked it all back on again and I'm going to need help. Well, he could help to a point, and then a girlfriend said, I'm sure there are Facebook groups on this stuff. So I joined another one and they were helpful, but they kept talking about dirty keto, and I thought, I don't think it's good just to keep eating that kind of food. And then I heard you did a talk to them. And then I found real life medicine and my life changed. So what was really interesting though, so I had this expectation of myself because I'd done it before, that it would all fall off really easy and quickly like it did the first time. Well, it didn't. The first sort of 6-8 weeks, I lost maybe 1 or 2 kilos. And I'm thinking, oh, hang on, what's going on here? So then I was in Woolies and this man very accidentally pushed his trolley into me. And I turned around and I gave him an absolute mouthful, and I'm not like that at all, and then proceeded to have a panic attack, which I had never had in my life. And I thought, what's going on? And then I can't remember now if it was you or Dr. Mary, somebody gave a talk on cortisol levels, and I had all this mental health stuff going on. So I thought, I need more help. So to use your description of hiding behind the tree, where I thought I could just do it on my own, I couldn't. I needed help. So I went and had some counselling, and she was excellent, or I'm still seeing her, but she diagnosed me with that complex stress disorder. And once we started to work through some of that, plus really importantly, the exercise and the low carb, suddenly I started to lose weight. So it wasn't as fast as the first time, but I wasn't really worried because I had faith in the program. I had you guys backing me up, plus all the lovely people that are on the Facebook page. And by then, I decided I would do the 12-week course in May last year. And I learnt so much through there and really learnt about these cortisol levels. So it's taken me nearly a year this time, and it's because it's trickled and then it stops and then it'll go with great gusto. So I'm at the weight that, even though that, that scale says I'm in the overweight, BMI, which is just rubbish. So I feel really good at the weight I'm at. Then I decided, I was just worried that I knew I hadn't really dealt with the sugar addiction, and I needed to, with the help of my counsellor, look at it through a addiction lens rather than just food. I mean, they're entwined. And then I really enjoyed your sugar addiction talk that you did. And then I thought, okay, I really am addicted to sugar. So with the help of the counsellor, I was able to push it right back into my childhood like we all did. You fall over, you get a lolly, and off you go. I've been a sugar addict my whole life. And I was worried that I might put the weight back on, that I hadn't really tackled it head on. So I did the 12-week momentum course again and got more confidence in myself. And then I thought, no, I need to progress this further, and have since joined the momentum program.
The inner circle, yes, absolutely. So do you know what I love? So there's a couple of things that I think that I would love to highlight. The first thing was that the first time you did it, you were traveling around in a caravan. So, not in a stressful situation, not running an aged care facility in COVID, for example, which would have to be one of the most stressful jobs of all time. And so when we don't have that external stress, yes, the weight just comes off. And I know that people, because we've been conditioned to believe about calories and energy in, energy out, that we've got this absolute kind of can't quite believe that stress could do that. Surely it's not that important. And you've just demonstrated in real life exactly why it is important.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited now because my latest HbA1c was 5.4, which is great.
Oh, it's normal. Whereas, and when it was 14 or that, I mean, that is at the severe end of type 2 diabetes. That's not just a smidge of sugar, as like people like to call it. You were, really unwell with diabetes, and now your blood sugar levels and your hemoglobin A1C, more importantly, is normal.
And my blood pressures without any medications dropped 120 on 80.
Yes. So that's normal as well. So you've been able to improve your health without needing medications by changing a couple of things, though, isn't it? It's not just what you eat.
Oh, no.
But it's actually changing this whole mind.
Well, I've been journaling. I really enjoy the journaling, and I finally found the recipe that works for me. And my recipe is that I have to walk every day and take my dog with me, my big German Shepherd. She takes me. And I do hypnosis or meditation every morning. I journal. I eat low carb. And if I stay within that, I feel really well.
Yes, which is what the whole aim, everything we do in our life is to try and feel better. And this is the sneaky, I guess the sort of allure of sugar and processed carbohydrates is that we eat them because we're trying to feel better in the moment. And, we're conditioned to believe they will make us feel better. And paradoxically, they actually do in the very short term because of that dopamine effect.
Yeah.
But as all addictions are really just attempts to self-soothe distress.
So I do have every so often what I call my wobbly days, where
you're a human.
Yep, I wake up and I think, I don't go so much anymore as poor me, but now I know when I have those days, that's just me. I just need to be looking after myself that day, and by lunch it's normally past, or by the next day it's past. I don't get worried or upset by it anymore, and it just comes on.
Yeah. And I think probably if you've had periods where you've been distressed, that when you first have that sort of little sniff of a lower mood or a sniff of anxiety, we get worried that we're going to suddenly plunge into the vortex of doom. That felt such a terrible time that you obviously don't want to go there again.
Well, it was horrendous, really. I had stopped going outside. I just wanted to hide. It was just, oh my God, I've done it again. Look at the size of me. I'm back up to size 18, 20. I can't believe I've done this to myself. And I was just full of self-hatred is too strong, and I certainly wasn't suicidal, but I thought, oh, well, if this kills me, that's it.
Yeah, so yes. Quite often, and self-loathing might be a term that maybe is
that
a
would
little...
be a better one.
Yeah, and just, it's complex, we feel guilty, we feel ashamed, we feel hopeless, useless. They're often the words that we'll use to ourselves and sometimes cross, that we've done it. And we all understand why you feel like that. But at the end of the day, it becomes a really unhelpful narrative to keep replaying in our brain.
Yeah. And when I realised that and knew that I needed another level of help, another person on my team, and so it's been really helpful with the sugar addiction.
Wonderful.
And I just can't say enough how much your group and your program are just really down to earth and very helpful.
Yes. Well, as you know, and again, this is part of our mantra, and I guess part of why we called our business Real Life Medicine, because both Mary and I are certainly very real and very imperfect. And I have no qualms sharing that, because I think for lots of people will just, they'd only share the highlight reel and they don't ever share that things aren't perfect. And so therefore everyone is comparing themselves to an illusion, and that's unhelpful. So, we always want to make sure that, comparison itself is often quite unhelpful, but when you're comparing yourself to something that's not real, that's even harder.
Well, the thing that it's taught me is persistence and patience. And I was sharing my funny story with you about this spinning, and I wanted to bring a skein of wool that I've just...
Oh, yes. Yes, if you would share that story with the listeners, they would love to hear it because it's a wonderful analogy.
So I decided that we have, with our alpacas, everybody has to contribute on the little farm that we're on. So I would learn how to spin the fleece when it comes off. So typical me, I launched in head first, not really, and thinking, oh, yes, I can do this. Well, your foot's got to do one thing and your hands have got to do something else. And I was all thumbs. It was just terrible. And my husband had to rescue the spinning wheel being thrown out the window because I thought, I can't do this. This is just ridiculous, and getting really angry and upset with it. Anyway, I thought, oh, this is silly. So I went down in the paddock and was playing with one of our baby alpacas. She comes up for a cuddle all the time. And all of a sudden I thought, oh, my golly gosh, it's a spinning wheel. You're not going to die. What is this reaction? And for the first time in a long time, I was actually able to laugh at myself and not take it too seriously. And I thought, you know what? I think I can do this. And then as I was playing with Jovi, the alpaca, I could visualize myself using this spinning machine. And sure enough, I didn't that afternoon, but the next morning when I got up, still a bit clumsy, but all of a sudden it was working. So it was persistence.
Absolutely. And there's again, I love pulling out a few little gold nuggets from that story. Two things. One, it is normal for humans, adult humans, when we find something hard, and in fact little baby humans as well, when we find something hard, to kind of rail against it a bit and resist and start telling it, oh, this is stupid, I'm not doing this is ridiculous. That's very normal behaviour. It is also... what you've demonstrated, though, is kind of pushing through that resistance and actually continuing and doing that persistence. But third thing I love that I hadn't been aware of was that you used visualization as a technique to be able to, again, push through that resistance and show that you can actually do things that are initially hard.
Yeah, it was really helpful to do that. And I draw on that quite often when I'm finding it hard. So we were out for dinner the other night, and before I went, I visualised that I would have a really nice meal without the carbs, and it just all went the way it was supposed to.
Yes, like 100 times yes, because what you're describing there is you're leaning into your life, with low carb and recognising that it is still fun, that it's still good. Whereas what lots of people will do is there's a meal, a function coming up, and they perseverate on it. How am I going to do this? It's going to be hard. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be spending all this time resisting. It's going to be terrible. And so, in fact, they're visualizing their distress or their resistance in the event, whereas you're visualizing your success at the event.
Yeah, a skill that I'm still developing, but very, very powerful for me.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So that, lovely listeners, if you're looking for just another technique, I guess, to help you through things like sugar addiction, is recognizing that imagine yourself in the situation where you have achieved what you want to achieve. Now, if that is, not eating the cakes or the pastries or whatever, you just imagine yourself doing that, not talking to yourself about how hard it's going to be and what are you going to do and how difficult it will be. Because if we think it's going to be difficult, our brain will look for that because that's what it thinks you want.
Yeah, definitely.
Ah, wonderful. Louise, if you had an opportunity to talk to anyone who might be on the fence about joining the 12-week mind-body rebalance, I feel like I'm doing a bit of a leading question, but what would you say?
I would say that definitely do it. One of the most powerful things in that program is the no judgment. And it's saying it as it is. And it's at your pace. I think the Facebook support group, your coaching calls are really good. The other powerful message is having that ability to bring a sense of humour into it. There were times, especially in the hypnosis, that I felt they were very, very good, but I felt really sad. And I thought, now, why am I feeling sad? And I thought, it's because I was just sad at how I had treated myself. And sometimes you've got to get to that to get over the hurdle. So I've recommended your program to several of my friends, the ones who are ready to listen to it. And to think that I was on the verge of insulin twice, I really was very, very sick that second time through, though, after coming out of that position I was in. You can get back. The road might be twisty, and it's so good to have a team working with you.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, a lot of people think, and it's so interesting to me, they think they're too far gone. You know, it's not worth it. I'm too far gone. I'm a lost cause. And I think the story you've just demonstrated is it's never too late.
Well, I was at that point when I'd put it all back on. I thought, oh, well, okay, here's the insulin. This is really the downhill road from here. And just something got inside me and said, no, come on.
Absolutely. And you know what? You've got decades ahead of you of long, healthy living.
Thank you.
That fresh mountain air. And now your beautiful, healthy metabolic state.
Yeah. Well, the doctor, they're quite funny. We've just recently moved up here, and the doctor that I'm seeing up here has never heard of keto and was sort of thinking, he said, are you sure you've got diabetes? Which I just had a real laugh at. She said, because these triglycerides, nothing's showing here.
No, absolutely. Louise, it has been a delight. I absolutely think you will have inspired hundreds of people who are listening to this podcast, because really your story is just the same as so many people. It takes a few goes sometimes to be ready to recognize the sugar, the addiction, the techniques. And I would always say to people, it is never too late. You can always start again. You can always learn more. And one day there might be just that last piece of the puzzle that drops in and you go, here it is.
I was surprised how much I relearnt or had forgotten from doing the 2 12-week programs.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? This is why, so with our Momentum members, this is why we offer them. I go, we say this, you get access to the 12-week programs as many times as you like. And people sometimes go, but I've already done it. I go, just keep your mind open, see if you learn anything new. And then suddenly, oh my God, I can't believe, did you say that the first time? And I go, yep.
And I'm going to be doing it with you on the 3rd of September again.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, you will be like the cheer squad, cheering all the other people on, because you, my love, are now a super experienced person and an absolute superstar.
Thank you. But I'd like to thank you too. You and your team are very, 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 that's just excellent.
Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you. Well, I'm just glad we've saved you from the clutches of insulin.
Yes.
And that you are, as I said, decades ahead of you, long, healthy, happy life.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, lovely listeners, how inspiring was Louise's story? I would just like to recap that seriously, if you do think that it's, that you've done it all and then it's come back on again, it's never too late to start again. The doors for the 12-week Mind Body Rebalance close this Friday at midnight, and the link for the sign up is in our show notes. Have the most wonderful, wonderful day, and we will see you next week. Bye for now. So, my lovely listeners, that ends this episode of Real Health and Weight Loss. I'm Dr. Lucy Burns.
And I'm Dr. Mary Barson. We're from Real Life Medicine. To contact us, please visit rlmedicine.com.
And until next time, thanks for listening. The information shared on the Real Health and Weight Loss podcast, including show notes and links, provides general information only. It is not a substitute, nor is it intended to provide individualised medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor can it be construed as such. Please consult your doctor for any medical concerns.